Good afternoon. So, the masculine and feminine energies that everyone has within them, no matter your gender, can manifest in anyone who completes the shadow work. By being balanced in your masculine and feminine energies, this will lead to more wisdom, harmony, self fulfillment, and more effective manifestation power. During your awakening process, you start to notice things that used to excite you don't really move you anymore. And you don't really resonate with people or things like you once did. You're waking up to the wisdom that you have within you. You stop pretending and stop playing the games that hold society together. This makes you threatening to a world that's built on illusions. You may notice that drive that you once had when you were younger to prove yourself, to achieve things, finally starts to quiet down. You begin to change and become the observer, the one who watches without needing to control. If that fire burns out, it's a sign that you're evolving. You're moving from doing to being. This bothers people around you because we live in a world where we're told to hustle, grind, and never stop chasing. But you've stopped chasing, not because you're lazy, not because you're giving up, but because you realize that the hamster wheel was never real to begin with. Once you reach this level, you have wisdom, not just knowledge. You've stopped collecting information and started feeling truth. You start shifting from masculine energy, being logical and taking action, to feminine energy, being intuitive, nurturing, and flow. Again, this has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with shifting from different modes. You begin to look inwards, and you realize that all the knowledge in the world can't teach you what being in silence can. What simply being present can teach you. You can find a lot of books on love or enlightenment, but only your heart and direct experience can show you what it means. You might feel uninterested over someone telling you their latest achievement or new business idea. You just smile and nod, not because you're judging them, but because you can see what they can't see yet. That the ego is trying to prove itself, prove that it exists, and you've moved past that. You don't feel a need to prove yourself anymore. That inner knowing comes from sitting in silence, where a lot of people are afraid to visit. You've emotionally detached from the ego, and the things that used to trigger you now pass through you like clouds in the sky. When someone insults you, you feel it, but it doesn't bother you. When someone betrays you, you see it clearly, but it doesn't break you. You've developed emotional resilience. You can be in the storm without becoming the storm. You can witness suffering without drowning in it. People will say that you're cold, you're unbothered, or that you've changed, and they're right. You have changed, but not in the ways that they think. You haven't stopped caring, you just stopped letting other people's mess become your mess. You stopped taking responsibility for emotions that don't belong to you. That makes you difficult to manipulate and very difficult to control, and people hate that. You've accepted the shadow aspects of yourself, and you no longer judge others. Most people spend the majority of their life pointing the finger at everyone else. But you realize that every dark thing you see in another person exists in you too. The difference is that you sat with it and you looked at it. You integrated the parts of you that you spent your life running from. Yes, you can hurt someone. Yes, you can abandon someone that you love if you were hurt enough by them. You stop being shocked by human behavior. You stop being offended by what other people do. You see things clearly. You see a person that's acting from their inner wounds, their fears, and their unhealed parts. And instead of judging them, you just observe them. This doesn't mean you accept abuse or you let people walk all over you. It means you see clearly and you've made peace with your worst parts. You move past this and you can see that your parents were both loving and harmful, that your ex was both kind and cruel, that you yourself are both the light and the shadow, and you have the ability to be balanced between both, which is rare. Once you wake up at this level, there's no going back. This is why society rejects people at this stage, because you can't be controlled anymore, and you don't fall for the manipulation. This makes you threatening to systems that want people to remain asleep. So if you feel like no one understands you, that's not a sign that something is wrong. That is a sign that you're exactly where you need to be. You're in the solitude that comes before true authenticity. You've shifted from doing to being. You stopped putting in so much effort and started allowing. You started surrendering the need to control every outcome and started living in harmony with your true purpose. When you live in this way, people you align with will start to show up, opportunities arrive, and doors open. Not because you're forcing, but because you've stopped blocking the natural flow. You'll start to see the divine in nature, in animals, and you'll feel connected with everything. You'll feel the life force moving through it. You realize the same life force moves through you. Everything becomes sacred and meaningful. And this changes how you move through the world completely. You're not the same person that you once were. You've learned things, you've been broken and remade, and now you're happy with simple living. Maybe a quiet morning, enjoying a cup of coffee or tea, a walk in nature, maybe a conversation with people who get it. You don't need much anymore because more doesn't add anything. It just distracts you from being present in this moment. You found the happiness within that doesn't depend on things. You realize that everyone is on their own journey and at their own stage. It's not your job to force others. Your job is to be fully present where you are and let that be an invitation to others when they're ready. Your job is to come back as someone who's faced their shadow and be of service to others through your work. Be a bridge between conscious and unconscious and help others who are ready to wake up too. Becoming whole so you can give with wholeness instead of giving from wounds. Healing deeply so that your presence becomes healing for others. So be who you truly are, not who society expects you to be, not who your parents wanted you to be, not who you thought you should be, but who you actually are beneath all the layers of conditioning and fears. The world is in desperate need of people who can see clearly, who can love without attachment, who hold space, who speak truth without any agendas, and who can guide without controlling others. So this world needs people like you and me. Will you accept the role and step into it?